Hello, this is Debbie, and you have joined to Light Up Your World. I am so excited. We're going to be dropping some glitter bombs today with my guest, Wave. Wave is a financial coach who has been tossing glitter bombs into the gray world of finance for over 7 years. With an authentic and heart centered approach, Wave helps individuals embrace their financial adventure, crush financial isolation, and awaken their inner dragon, that's glowing core of passion, purpose, and vision within us all. I'm so excited, Wade. Welcome.
Thank you, Debbie. That was awesome. Even
Yeah.
I was excited about that.
I get excited because we all have our own uniqueness and brilliance. I love to learn about how spiritual people can impact their whole wealth, their finances. How do they live their day to day life? It can be gray and we need glitter.
Definitely.
The spiritual world really does need to wake up. There's a lot of beautiful souls don't always connect the financial part of their purpose and work. I love it when somebody has joined those two together, and you can help our listeners really start to understand how to navigate that.
Definitely. Yeah, that's amazing. I have this joke. I used to joke with a Reiki practitioner that the lower chakras are boring. Because like security, finances, grounding, whatever. I'm up here and I'm excited and I want to go quantum and know about people's souls and how we can uplift, what we're doing here. But ultimately, it's a disservice to myself, right? Because the whole
Mhm.
system needs to be functioning. So, lesson for me. For me, it started out with debt. I was $30,000 in debt, and I had spent a lot of it having fun and probably on consumer goods. Honestly, I don't know what it was worth or where it went. Almost the only way I could get into finances was to find a fun way. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do it. That's what I like to bring now. Gosh, I think there's a lot of people. There's artists and scientists and change makers and peacemakers and people who are really going to help this planet get on a good track. And we're all held back by one thing, finances. I hope if I was to share anything today, I think we need to open the way we speak about it in terms of, hey, I need help, because we need to activate all these people to live their dreams. Sometimes your dream is just to appreciate beauty at the beach. Great. Maybe your dream is to go save the rhinos. Also good. Ultimately, all these visions, we want to support them. I really think that finances are this like unlocking key. Like release all our like all these people who have missions on this planet in some way.
There's so many limiting beliefs around money. You don't really know until you start digging into it, especially with entrepreneurs.
Mm.
Anybody who has stepped into being an entrepreneur will realize every single belief you've hidden from yourself is going to come and just hit you upside the head.
Yeah. It's
And you're
so
going to have to
powerful.
really work through them. How do you help people uncover as you work through them as a financial coach? How do you help them uncover some of their limiting beliefs around money?
Definitely. So there is a popular coach who says finances is not a math,
Oh, yes.
it's a behavior problem. There's two parts to that. Today I was thinking it's definitely a math problem, dude. Uh, and a lot of my clients, we just start. Sometimes we just get into the numbers
Mhm.
because then you start to realize, oh, I've got triggers that cause me to spend money in places I didn't anticipate. So that's a really fun one for me is when you start to dig into when you like to spend money. I have a musical equipment. Getting the catalog is a major trigger. I maybe didn't want something before and now I have one. So just knowing that is important to me.
Mhm.
If we know what our triggers are, I've heard people have triggers like before they go on vacation, then they start spending money. And I think if we can know those instead of judging them, we'll just plan for them. Like I now make sure I have enough money to buy music gear if I want to, because I know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to plan for it. So there's some things like that are pretty functional, I think, where we see the belief and how we can take action around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. I definitely appreciate conversations around like what our family thought about money. Do
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like my dad was like, money doesn't grow on trees.
Trees. And then they discovered there's actually a money tree.
I think that's valuable information. Some people like to go up front. I am all for that, but it's hard to know the psychology until you start reflecting on the numbers. Doing some numbers with people, like I said, it's got to be fun or we're not going to do it.
What do you see as one of the top limiting beliefs with the people you've worked with?
Sure. With the community I work with, one of the beliefs, guilt and shame around, I have this too. It's like you look and there's people struggling worse than you. Rich people are vilified as evil, and we see people in power taking advantage of money. It feels like if you're going to be a good person, you probably shouldn't be trying to be too wealthy or visibly wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even hold yourself back subconsciously. How can I be an activist and care about the planet, my soul, and people, and be like, I'm going to build wealth, buy musical gear, and go on vacation? They're like opposite. I've been learning about the tension of opposites. It's okay to have that be intention, that people struggle with thinking they deserve money, right? Especially in lieu of what happens when you get it.
Mm-hmm.
We just need better examples. I don't think that money is going to solve anyone's problems, but I definitely want to help people see that there's a vision to it, right? Your value, my value of love leads to my vision of wanting to, for my example, help with pug rescue.
Mm-hmm.
I love when people have goals and we want to set them up for success.
I love
People
that.
struggling.
I see a lot of guilt as a disclaimer. The more wealth you have, the more people you can help.
Mm,
Whoever you are, with or without wealth, is who you are.
mm.
That money gives you the ability to amplify. If you're an asshole, you're just going to be an asshole. If
Yeah.
you're a heart centered person who really is of service to people, you're going to still be of service to people. You
Mm,
just now have the funds to be able to do it.
mm.
That's the beliefs I subscribe to now
I
after
love that.
lots and lots of deep subconscious work on my beliefs. But the same thing that I have seen is that people get okay and until they meet a ceiling, what I call the money ceiling,
Mm,
and then they hit it and they can't go past it. That's how I
mm,
know people have more work to do. Maybe they're
mm,
comfortable up to a certain amount, maybe $200,000, then they can no longer exceed that amount. They just keep hitting it. That means there's a new set of beliefs because maybe if you made $50,000 growing up, 200 is rich.
as long as it's way better than how you were raised, that makes sense to me.
I'm wondering too, where I grew up, money was super taboo.
Mm,
And what has
yeah.
been your experience to be able to reach out to you is a big deal.
I've been so excited about finances for so long that I forget, like in the moment, that I'm hitting a wall with, I have people who'd rather literally share with me their sex life than talk about money. So this is how we know it's maybe the most taboo. This happened to me 2 weeks ago in a board game group. They were like, nope. I'd rather share anything else. If we look at the pandemic, the word isolation is a big word that came out of that. And I actually think that the taboo is causing a really deep isolation within everyone. Most people I know, they're suffering silently. They lay awake at night. They're wondering how they're going to make their next payment, how they're going to pay for the daycare. They're drowning and do it alone. I used to lay awake at night and worry.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in our separate homes and our separate beds doing so. And I feel like we need to revolutionize this conversation. I think we should have a party and just be like, I'm going to show you guys all of my numbers and then we're going to make a plan together. Whether it's like, hey guys, I've been hiding $100,000 of debt and I'm paycheck to paycheck. Or maybe it's simpler, like I'm making good money, but I don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we need to have throw parties. Like we need to uplight this in a major way. And I really believe that each of us need to reach out to a friend immediately and ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of coaches. I have a business coach, a fitness coach, I've had a life coach. I'm a big fan of finding a peer support because for me, it was guilt and shame. All that debt money, I don't know where it went. Some of that was from my dad because he had passed away. I felt like I had squandered some of that money. That immense shame around that was just it. It's not something you ever want to share. I think this is a radical act of self-love to share it. This is our next level. Self-care is no longer enough. We need radical community care and start talking about money. Tell your friends what's going on, and we can celebrate successes.
I love that idea. I subscribe to that idea. I think self-care is looking at our finances and having an accountability partner for those who are single or in partnership starts breaking that isolation.
It's like that pit in your stomach. And I know that terrified feeling. I don't want anyone to go through that any longer. There's no need. I think that's a thing of the past. And it's really like you and I are talking. It's so great. More people are talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited about that. There is no reason that we should be ashamed or embarrassed because I was never taught anything about finances. My brother was. Like no one walked personal finance through with me. Now I'm convinced it's community finance because self-care sometimes implies that you're just going to do it by yourself alone in your house and like what's going to help you. And I'm just like, we self-care together, right?
So if somebody is thinking, where do I start? What tips
Definitely.
would you give to challenge themselves
Mm,
through guilt, shame, fear, or worry? Who has not laid there and worried at some point in their life? Can I go get gas at $6 a gallon? Is it going to fill it up? Do I have enough for basics? What if I have to choose between an event or basic needs? How would you advise with your financial experience?
I love this question. When you're asking, I sense the system's out to get me. It's oppressive, right? It's like you can't win. I can't just call the president and be like, fix things. It's disempowering, right? And I guess I have to bring up that pug rescue example because the reason I pick that is because it's something smaller that I can make an impact on.
Mhm.
We don't have to fix everything. We just need to take small steps that feel good. We don't need to make a bunch of change today. We just need to take those small steps. And so I'm relating back to the pug rescue example because that's a local rescue. I can go one day and make an impact.
Mhm.
And I don't need to fix capitalism tomorrow. My clients usually come to me and they're pretty good with money. They know they've been working, they understand the concepts,
Mhm.
but want to get to the next level faster. Same thing for me when I hired a fitness coach. I can do it
Mhm.
alone, but I needed some help. To answer your question more clearly, it's finding someone you trust, spilling all the beans. There's a hump you have to push through, a barrier,
Mhm.
but that fear disappears immediately. If they trust you and they love you, they're going to be like, cool, how can I help? I like to do that in a non judgmental way. I've seen it all and done it all. So, no judgment from me. Sharing where you're at with someone is important because once you know the numbers, they're not so
Mhm.
scary. It's the mystery.
I agree. When I first started to really start to understand and start to learn some financial literacy was through Susie Ormond. I
Mm.
remember reading this really old book. She talked about just opening all your stuff up. That's when things used to get mailed to us. So I'm aging myself. What's on your statements? Just having the awareness starts to shift that energy around our finances and
Yeah.
bring it more light. But I love, for example, about the pugs because I have set a goal for myself that once I've achieved a certain amount of income level revenue, consistent revenue, on my list is to open a nonprofit.
Mm.
That's where I will be funneling. And it has to do with pitties, pit bull dogs as well.
Yes.
And it has to do with I want what I will have, what I will create. What is being created hasn't shown up physically yet.
I love it.
I will have a rescue with women who have suffered PTSD. They
Mm.
will be matched with a pity rescue who has been professionally trained, and there will be a community because of
Yes.
housing discriminations against this very loving breed, which one's sleeping on my feet right now.
I figured
Yeah.
because you have to really know to know.
Yeah. And that's where I will filter mine because I feel like it's a
Yeah,
responsibility for me that
I
I've
love that.
accepted, that you've accepted. Like we want, it will just let us go put our funds to something that's going to help and then continually change the world. I like that you approach that with your clients. You know,
Definitely. There is that sense of having something good come from your money. I say it because I heard you say that with Susie Orman. Just open your statements, look at them. Before I had this business, a friend came to me and no one wants, I don't want to look at them alone. She was like, you look, they were her statements. You look and I'll write them down and then we'll do it together. That felt good. I remember that moment because we realized that we had some like areas to grow that she did. And I reflected back, I saw her numbers and I was like, dang, I do too. That's way better than seeing the numbers and the shame spiral, right? I think the only way to grow out of that is doing it together. I love your vision, by the way. I like pit bulls, especially because they often have PTSD and discrimination. Then they are matched with someone with that. Everyone understands each other. It's such a beautiful thing. I love this
mm-hmm,
dream. These are the dreams I want to
mm-hmm.
help people get to. Can you imagine like someone has a dream like that, but they're going to live paycheck to paycheck for way too many years? Maybe they never learned personal finance like me. I never knew. Or it's too scary to reach out. I'm here to dispel it. Reach out. Don't worry, life is good.
When we have a why, we have a purpose. How do you link being a financial coach and your purpose? What
Yeah,
is your purpose?
great.
That's
Great.
the big old question that so many
Yeah.
people want to know. What is my
What am
purpose?
I doing here?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like I'm in a permanent state of existential angst. Everything I do is a question about what are we doing here? What am I
Mm-hmm.
doing right now? This keeps things in perspective. I live in a town where the stars are covered by Oregon clouds, fog. Sometimes my perspective gets small. I think that my life is real and my things get really narrow in my life. Every time I'm outside and there's a million stars, I just feel like my heart opens up. I don't know if I know my purpose, except to say that I really do believe love is the answer, and I'm just going to follow my heart to the end of it. So, with financial coaching, there's just something about unlocking the heart by bringing people out of survival with their money or launching them to the next phase. There's something freeing about helping people do that. I love the taboo. Let's talk about money and sex. Like, this feeds my exes.
I get the whole taboo. I still have student loans. I was 40 when I graduated with my bachelor's and
Oh, nice.
52 with my master's in healthcare administration. I didn't do it the traditional way. I've graduated now 5 years and student loans were put on hold. I let
Sure.
them, I've released the shame, the embarrassment about having them. I'm
Mm,
working on
yep.
it. It's not
With
going
you.
to stop me from going after why I'm here to serve, shine, have people
Yeah.
own who they are, their worth, and work through their limiting
Yeah.
beliefs.
I'm curious because one of the ways that I release guilt, shame, and fear is I like to see the stars. It makes my feelings seem less important. Oh, it's okay. I'm wondering how you like, how are you overcoming that thought that you have student debt and maybe you're not supposed to?
There's a lot of shoulds we all
Yeah.
come across. I should not have had this. Maybe I should have paid it cash.
Yeah.
But I focus on you finished a master's degree. You were the first to have a
Yeah.
bachelor's in your family. Now you have a master's and have served people in tech, healthcare, and the spiritual community. But
I love this. That's
I
when you told me, I was like, heck yeah, we graduated twice, bro.
it's like I was breaking through generational healing, just getting to school. I went to school for 20 years before I had my bachelor's. It was a very long journey. I raised my son
Yeah,
by
girl.
myself and graduated. I focused on that I can do hard things. And if that meant that I accumulated student loans and I am in integrity of paying them back,
Yeah.
government doesn't need to take them away from me. I signed up for that loan as an adult.
Mm.
I am not going to carry guilt and shame because that lowers my vibration,
Ooh,
the
yeah.
frequency that gets out there. We carry all of that in our root and sacral
I'm like,
chakra.
if there's, yeah, I love this because there's great reasons to go into debt. That's one of them. What an achievement. And I just want to celebrate that. It sometimes our friends and people around us are like, what are you talking about? Why any dark or negative feelings? I'm thinking, wow, she did all this work, she graduated, heck yeah, go into debt. And it is isolating to feel like you're the one who sees your mistakes and problems.
Mhm.
Sharing it makes it less a big a deal.
I'm not downplaying. If I get a big chunk of money, I'd love to pay it off. I am working towards being debt free. I don't carry
Yeah.
other debt. I don't have a vehicle.
Yeah.
I have my student loans. I'm not going to assume somebody else's feelings of their should or the collective energy around our money, which is the taboo thing. Mhm.
Mm. Debt is taboo because of there's a movement for sure where it's you have to be debt free or else you're not a successful financial with your personal finances. I think that's problematic. I take a broader view of that. I think there's ways to leverage money. I think there's ways to go to school and pay your payments, and that's okay. Hopefully we don't get into predatory lending or school debt, but there's always ways to navigate it. We really have to make up our own rules. This isn't the like get out of debt, get your white picket fence and retire at 65 plan. What do you really want in life? If money was no object, unleash the beast. I want to help people make up. I heard a hustle today. Somebody picks up old couches, cleans them, and sells them. And I just think this is such a great upcycling. They make $1,000 a day. There are ways to get around systems if that's what you want to do. So I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but it's around this idea of the way we're supposed to do personal finance. It's also taboo to think broadly or be creative. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about all of it.
I think it's important to master their money to live wild and free, as you say.
Yep.
Doesn't that ignite wanting to know more? How can I get there? And how can I get there faster with having somebody who's in my corner to help me make decisions, but not attached to the outcome? It's more like, where do you want to go? Sounds like what you're doing. What is that dream of yours? And let's get you there. You help with that gap.
It feels like a big gap at times, right? I think most of us, this is a limiting belief that I think myself included experiences is how big can I dream? It's easier to imagine how far down I could go versus how big I can dream, right? I have felt limitations being part of the LGBT community. People are saying I shouldn't be me. And that there is nothing that drives me crazier than being told that.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you guys, but at every level, I am exploding with meanness. And nothing can stop this train hitting those walls, those social walls. I think they affect us all. And we start getting locked in. I'm trapped in jobs with bad bosses. I have to work paycheck to paycheck. I'm never going to get ahead. Those were my feelings. I wanted nothing more than to not work under a bad boss again. That alone was enough to drive the next steps. I have a friend who showed me how to do a budget. I read books, I listen to podcasts. I have a coach. It really does take a little bit of a radical, like an honest moment with yourself to finally make a decision, right? Like, I'm going to do something different. And it's a little easier, like around New Year's, you're like, I'm going to go to the gym. It has to happen. I'm full of cookies. Gotta go. And we have to dig a little bit deeper about how high we can dream. Because if we don't have a really good dream, there may be no reason to make that decision. You know what? I'm going to hire a financial coach. I'm going to my friend's house with my statements and surprise her. I'm going to have her look at them. These are moments and they're different for everyone. I don't know. I know some of mine. When are those moments where I decide that enough's enough? I'm going to make a change.
Having a financial coach, I help people with their subconscious limiting beliefs about money. I help them up level. I generally work with women entrepreneurs who are stuck. They don't think there's enough clients. There's something there that we go explore and get rid of, but they all come back to this guilt and shame and so much of our beliefs coming through from childhood. And so really understanding our own money stories is pretty important. And I love that idea of gathering up all your paperwork and bringing them to a friend and help me through it. That's a great tip.
Yeah,
I'll help you. I'm that friend too. I love Excel spreadsheets. I'm very spiritual, but I'm also very practical. I like flow maps, spreadsheets.
It's when we do this, anyone operating from a place of ignoring their finances, which I have done, can shift to center them in our lives and do the work. I get a lot of people who say, I don't need to worry about money because if I build it, they will come. Joe Dispenza person. I do his work. I love meditating. It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we all are. Yep.
He's talking about people manifesting abundance and they meet me and I'm the action step and they're like, gotta go meditate on abundance. And I'm like, wait, you need to learn how to run numbers. I want to help you do that because I don't want it to be a barrier. So you can meditate and grab your next quantum potential. We have a resistance to getting the spreadsheet or getting the budget app or looking at kind of accounts that can help us or investing in real estate and doing these bigger things. They're totally scary. And often, especially people who have been disenfranchised traditionally, whether it's women or people of color, the gay community, we need to root this down. You can't just meditate most people need to do the work, but let's do it like it's fun. I call it a financial adventure, like a hike thing. And just that rootiness. If we center finances, they're no longer finances. It's energy we're putting out into the world. I've seen it every day. At first, it's hard. You look at your money, you have to get your SHIT together and start making decisions. But once you start wealth building, everything fades and you're just looking at what you can do next. So exciting.
Like a huge Joe Dispenza fan as well. He talks about the work in the quantum, but you got to take action and release it. Take all the action, send it out there, but also do real life steps.
Okay, I've been manifesting abundance. Nice to meet you. I'll see you later. I can help. It's not, I may not be everyone's answer, but it's an interesting thought process. When things show up for us, we're still scared to do it. I get it. I think finances could be terrifying if I wasn't like the golden retriever about it.
Who do you serve, Wave? Who do you help with your financial coach?
My clients typically people who are looking for something bigger in life. So they love travel and adventure. I love working with artists or anyone who's just got a dream, but they're just being held back from that. I love working with the LGBT community because I think there's a lot of unlocked potential there. Anyone who feels disenfranchised. But honestly, there is a mindset that I think that does need to come with it, which is I'm curious, even a curiosity about dreaming. I'm curious about what it feels like to dream bigger.
I like that. We should all dream bigger. We should all shine our light.
I get it. I'm a routine person too. I love my little bit. Sometimes my dream bigger is my garden in my robe watering the plants. It doesn't have to be flashy. How do you get time to water your plants in your robe? I want to make sure no one has to worry about money. Do what you love. There's a combination. Clients, people are trying to get out of debt, make a strategy. Some people are living paycheck to paycheck, want to get to the next level.
How can they reach you, Wave? We'll put this information in the show notes as well.
I would definitely say my Instagram is super fun, Financial Coaching with Wave. That's just a really bright and exciting place. Lots of big colors. I love it when people message me there. Let me know what you're working on. I can always create a post. I was thinking of one today. How do I know what my APR is on my credit card? Good question. So I want to make that available to everyone. Yeah. My website is coachingwithwave.com. There, I have a freebie. If you download it, it'll give you some outline on how to get started. If you're curious, all you have to do is be like minute, like maybe your eye is barely open and you're a little bit curious about what this might look like. That's a really safe space to do it, is go on my website. So just encourage everyone. Isolation, no good. Togetherness, good. I hope people reach out.
Thank you so much, Wave, for being here and providing some really good insights on where to start. I appreciate that and the offer. We'll put that in the show notes as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate you, and thank you.